Good morning and welcome. My name is Tegan Woolley and I serve on the Fellowship Board of Directors. I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors. If you would like more information about the Fellowship, please visit the welcome table in the fireside room or sign our virtual guest book at uufames.org/guestbook. Whether joining us from home or here in Fellowship Hall, we invite you to stay after service for coffee fellowship, where you can introduce yourself and join in conversation with kindred spirits. Or you could also stay after service and attend the final question and answer session for next year's budget, which will be held immediately after service today down in room 3 or on Zoom. Bring your questions and we'll bring the answers. Also, please put on your calendars, plan to be here. The annual meeting is next Sunday, December 10th. We'll have a shortened service at 10, a festive coffee fellowship hosted by the Generosity team, and the meeting at 11-ish. Sometimes it takes us a few extra minutes to get coordinated and get everybody signed in, so please plan to be here. This is our annual gathering to elect leaders, approve next year's budget, and approve next year's offertory recipients, so please join us. We are celebrating the winter solstice this year with a bonfire and potluck at the Crawford in Campustown, Friday, December 22nd, hosted by Bob Anders. The weekly newsletter has additional information on how you can participate. Also, the Ministerial Search Committee apologizes for the late postponement of the Breaking Barriers Building Beliefs workshop that was scheduled for this past Friday and Saturday. There was a miscommunication between the UUA and us, which resulted in moving the workshop to a date in January, yet to be set. So please keep an eye on your weekly email for more information about that. The delay will allow us to circulate a required survey to the congregation. If you plan to participate in the workshop, it is highly recommended that you take the survey, since the workshop is built around the responses received. Check your weekly emails for additional information, including the link to the survey. Thank you for your patience. So on behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here you are invited into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which might inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for joining us today.
Our opening words are from Reverend Dr. David Breeden. We gather here honoring mystery, honoring discovery. We gather unafraid of Pandora's boxes, knowing that hope lurks always within. We join in the search. We join in the mystery. We gather here to embrace the unknown that ties the earth to the sky, that pulses through every vein, that sparkles in each gaze. We honor discovery, celebrating every question, propelling us forward. Each answer a newfound foothold. Every enigma beckons us to dance in the mystery, in the sacred interplay of chaos and order, of silence and resonance, of words articulated or unheard. Let wonder steer our course as we assemble united in the mystery that weaves us into this wondrous tapestry. And our chalice lighting this morning is a responsive reading from Kenneth Patton. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature.
It is a house of friendships, a haven in trouble, an open room for the encouragement of our struggle.
It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person.
It offers a platform with free voice for declaring, both in terms of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion.
It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers.
It is a house of art, adorning its celebrations with melodies and handiworks.
It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress.
This house is a cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor.
And we light this chalice as we converge again in this house. And will you rise now in body or spirit for our opening song, 226, People Look East.
Good morning. It's my privilege today to read the story, the Time for All Ages story. And today's story is Owl Moon by Jane Yolen and illustrated by John Schoenherr. And one of the things I like best about this story is the owl calls. So I'm going to do some owl calls during the story. And then there'll be a chance for everybody here on this carpet to do owl calls. And then for everybody out there in the bigger room also, all together. This was copyrighted in 1987. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out, trains and dogs, for a real long time. And when their voices faded away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on toward the woods, Pa and I. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round and had to run after him, every now and then to keep up, and my short, round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo," the sound of a great horned owl. "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo." Again he called out, and then again. After each call, he was silent, and for a moment we both listened, but there was no answer. Paul shrugged, and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said, sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there isn't. We walked on. I could feel the cold as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back, and my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf, over my mouth, and listened hard, and then Pa called, "Woo, woo, 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 woo. Woo, 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 woo." I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt, and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Paul raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. "Woo, woo, 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 woo." Paul smiled. Then he called back, "Woo, woo, 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 woo," just as if he and the owl were talking about supper, or about the woods, or the moon, or the cold. I took my mittens off the scarf, off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl's call came closer. From high up in the trees on the edge of the meadow, nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow, lifted off and flew right over us. We watched silently, with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those words we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Paw turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow. Without a sound, it flew back into the forest. "Time to go home," Paul said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud. But I was a shadow as we walked home. When you go owling, you don't need words or warmth or anything but hope. That's what Paul says, the kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. Well, thank you. So, I'm going to do an owl call, and everybody here on the carpet can answer me back with their own owls. Woo, 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 woo. Very good. Woo, 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 woo. Now everybody, the whole room. Thank you, terrific. And it's time to sing off. Yeah. Yeah. Where's she? Yeah, a real expert. Yeah. Probably more biologically correct than mine. Thank you. Okay, it's time to signal off to Ari, I think.
Will you join me now in a time of prayer and meditation? And our meditation this morning comes from Dr. Rebecca A. Savage. This is a time to arrive fully in the moment. Cast off that which does not serve you. Unfurl your shoulders. breathe into this space and quiet your inner chatter. Be here, right here, with your beloveds near and far in this shared moment of serenity and calm.
I invite you now on a journey inward. If you feel comfortable, you are welcome to close your eyes and still your body.
In your mind's eye, imagine the immediate space around you where you may be resting. What is around your body, over your head, below you. Appreciate the colors, textures, and feel of this place. Recall the memories associated with what and who may be around you, who has been here before, what may have happened in this space. And with grace and gratitude, send your loving kindness to all that this space means to you and others.
Next, imagine the wider community around this place. The other buildings, homes, parks, structures, whatever may be around you in the larger sense. Appreciate and connect with the idea of that larger space, of who is there and what happens in that wider community. With compassion and thanks, send kind regards outwards.
Next, imagine the expansiveness of our planet, the many people, languages, cultures, animals, plants, and fauna of our shared home, this interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
Run your imagination across the fields, the oceans, and forests of this land, recalling the generations of people and animals that have called this planet home for thousands of years.
Hold in your care all that ever has been in our world with wonder and gratitude for this day.
Next, expand your mind's eye across the vastness of the universe, the known and the unknown, the planets, stars, and galaxies that exist far outside even our imagination.
Let your spirit touch the mysteries of the beyond, the mystery of the universe, the mystery of that which we may never truly know or understand.
With reverence and astonishment, may that sense of mystery continue to immerse us in the unfolding journey of life.
And may we gently come back to this present moment with the enchantment of the beyond, bringing us a greater sense of peace, a greater sense of connection and interconnection to ourselves, each other, and all that shall ever be.
May we arrive back together, blessed by the journey beyond and within.
May it be so, and amen.
Welcome back, everyone. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning, a shared community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. It's a tradition in our community to take this moment to share our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support we have for our community. It's a time of sharing. If you'd like, you can come forward to the microphone over there, state your name, share your joy or sorrow, and I'll light a milestone candle for you.
Today, Trish is celebrating an anniversary of such. Today is the anniversary of her 39th birthday.
Hi, my name is Mike Frankum. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. My wife Meredith is graduating, and we're heading to Chicago for the graduation this weekend.
I'm Bob. I want to thank David for that wonderful story. When my son was in junior high, we lived in Iowa Falls, Iowa, about a block from the municipal cemetery that had massive white pine, ancient white pine and oak trees. And we would actually walk up there in the winter and call the great horned owls using that same call that David, and they would respond. But also in the summer, we would go to the cemetery and hunt owl pellets. And the owls eat rodents, and then they regurgitate a ball that has skeletons of mice and birds in it. And so I was really happy to hear that. Thank you, David.
I'm Kay Berger. I'd just like to thank everybody for your best wishes. I did spend 5 days in the hospital before Thanksgiving and recovered from low hemoglobin, and they gave me a blood transfusion, and I'm back on my feet again. Thank you for all your best wishes. We got together at Norwalk for an Airbnb after that, and 17 of us gathered in one place in Norwalk and had a wonderful Thanksgiving together. Thank you very much.
We'll move on to our online folks. For anybody on Zoom who has a milestone to share, please unmute yourself and share your milestone.
Well, this is Jan Cook, and I'd like thoughts and prayers for my brother-in-law, who has had COPD for some time and more recently has been battling pneumonia and is currently in rehab from that. So thank you.
Morning. This is Herb Kloss. My daughter Abby, who lives in mine, as you know, I'm very devoted to her and she to me. Her husband Jeff was called to India day after Thanksgiving because his father was on his deathbed. And he passed away a couple of days later. And Jeff is now trying to wrap up the various kinds of things you have to do at the end of life. And so I think I think of him a lot because he's been such a great husband and father to my family.
This last milestone candle is for each and every one of you and represents those milestones that were spoken, those that are left unsaid, and those that are held too dearly in our. Let's have a moment of silence. Our reading this morning is from Leadership Axioms by Bill Hybels, and it's an excerpt from a passage called Let's Debrief. Even world-class leaders who are leading at the top of their game have an incurable desire to get better. Great teachers want to teach even better. Great vision casters want to cast vision even better. Great team builders want to build even better teams. They want to do everything better because they know when continuous improvement ceases to be upheld as a core value, excellence wanes. Communication gets tangled and vision gets fuzzy. Little mistakes accumulate and eventually rule the day. Every time I see a ministry leader losing his or her developmental edge, I think, you think you can drift into improvement, but you can't. It takes hard work to get better. And one way to force continuous improvement is to practice the discipline of debriefing. To debrief something simply means to evaluate it from top to bottom. It involves honestly assessing a recent activity or initiative and determining what went well, what didn't, and why. Debriefings are not about judgment and condemnation and ripping something to shreds. They are about taking responsibility for the good, the bad, and the ugly. They are about learning in hopes of improving. I came to the conclusion that most people really are more than happy to make something better, but it won't happen unless they are asked to do so. Leaders must invite people to slow down, do the hard work of honest evaluation, and marshal their best thoughts and ideas for improvement if their organizations are ever going to get better. And now we will give and receive the offering. Please know that this morning, half of the non-pledge offering will be donated to our partner church in Tortofalva, Romania, who are celebrating their 200th anniversary of their building in which they worship. 200 years. Through sacred friendship and fellowship, we can learn from each other the values of the Spirit and see ourselves more clearly. The other half of our offering will support programs here in our fellowship that make this a community of inspiration and transformation. We'll pass the basket here in Fellowship Hall, and for those who are visiting via Zoom today, you can make your contribution online at uufames.org/give. And if you're visiting today, your gift here is, your presence here is gift enough.
Good morning, Central Iowa and beyond. My name is Reverend A.J. Galazin. I'm your interim minister. My pronouns are he and his. I want to welcome everyone who's joining us today, both here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. Wherever you are on your spiritual, ethical, or questioning journey, you are welcome here. It is December, and we are now in the season of Advent, a time of expectant waiting, a time of mystery and wonder. I've always loved the idea of the Advent calendar, a box with a little door for each day. And when that day arrives, you can open the door, read the greeting, in some cases find a little prize or a piece of candy. But you can't open all the doors at once. More mysteries are waiting, and that's part of the fun. The mystery of the year continues, with each day bringing us closer to the magical miracle of birth and nativity that many in our culture celebrate on December 25th. People look east, and I don't even know which way that is. Something bright is on the way. Our theme for December is all about rediscovering this mystery. As in, life does not offer us easy answers. We don't know how it's all going to wrap up. The Advent calendar reminds us that we don't have to wait. There are joys present in every day, small clues that keep us on the path. So although you are probably very busy this month, I do hope you keep returning here to open the doors that keep you connected with this beloved community. I guarantee you will find something here. Next Sunday, we will have a shortened service followed by the annual meeting of this fellowship. One of the most important times to experience and validate the democratic process of our congregational governance. We are free-range, grassroots religion. You need not be a member to attend the service or the meeting. It's a great way to get to know us. We support each other when we show up. On December 17th, we'll celebrate the World of Winter Lights, a pageant of mystery and wonder organized by Dana and the religious education team. And in the evening on December 17th, we will be holding an informal evening of music making with instruments and singing and some treats. And then on December 22nd, Friday evening at Bob Anders' home, we'll be observing the turning of the earth on the winter solstice with fire, food, and song. And then on December 24th, Christmas Eve morning, we will gather here for an intergenerational candlelighting service. Yes, Christmas Eve in the morning. And then December 31st, New Year's Eve morning, we will gather for a special service fully presented only on Zoom. So the building will be closed, but the service will go on. So please pay attention to your own Advent calendars and join us for these special services in December as you spread holiday cheer in your own ways during this month of mystery. There's an old minister's saying when preparing for a funeral. It's not about me. Thank God. But there is also another old minister's saying, every funeral is about all of us. This is my funeral too. The real stories of our lives are told by those who know and love us. When someone we love dies, a little piece of us dies with them. Even people we've never met. Thanks to the radio, I attended the funeral for Rosalind Carter this week as I was writing this sermon. The service was lovely. It had everything you would expect from 96 years of living a good life. Fine music, scripture readings, remembrances, and two of my favorite hymns, Morning Has Broken and John Lennon's Imagine. Imagine there's no religion. Yes, there were eloquent retellings of Ms. Rosalind's many accomplishments, but there were also those small, quiet, undocumented acts of kindness. And that is what brought the tears to my eyes. The service left me feeling lighter and more hopeful. In her book, Comfortable with Uncertainty, one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, Pema Chodron, writes, quote, "Lighten up and do something different." Being able to lighten up is the key to feeling at home with your body, mind, and emotions, to feeling worthy to live on this planet. For example, you can hear the slogan, "Always maintain a joyful mind," and start beating yourself over the head for never being joyful. That kind of witness is a bit heavy. This earnestness, this seriousness about everything in our lives, this goal-oriented, we're going to do it or else attitude is the world's biggest killjoy. There's no sense of appreciation because we're so solemn about everything. In contrast, a joyful mind is very ordinary and relaxed. So lighten up. Don't make such a big deal. Your serious state of mind keeps getting popped. In addition to a sense of humor, a basic support for a joyful mind is curiosity, taking an interest in the world around you. Happiness is not required, but being curious without a heavy judgmental attitude helps. And if you are judgmental, you can even be curious about that. Curiosity encourages cheering up. So does simply remembering to do something different. We are so locked into this sense of burden that it's sometimes helpful just to do something out of the ordinary. You can go to the window and look out at the sky. You can splash cold water on your face. You can sing in the shower. People look east. You can go jogging, anything that's against your usual pattern. That's how things start to lighten up, close quote. Thank you, Pema. Do you feel a little lighter now? I hope so, because I need you to do a little work for me. The UUFA will be engaging in a congregational assessment survey starting today with the hope of measuring how this fellowship is making a difference in people's lives and how you can continue to increase your impact in the world. It requires everyone to participate in an online survey that will take approximately 20 minutes. I took one yesterday, it took me 12 minutes. Has anyone here taken it already? Wow, this is amazing. Yeah. The link is available in your order of service, on the back of your order of service, And if you want to take it on your phone, there's a QR code also printed. And couples, both of you need to take the survey individually. Now, this survey is not related to your current ministerial search process, but it will assist your next minister and leadership with making important decisions. Why do we need another survey? The previous survey you completed was specifically designed at helping you find a good match for leadership right now. The Convergence survey is about the future. What comes next? Strategic planning is important for any organization wanting to thrive in today's rapidly changing world. And Convergence is a leader in developing these tools to assist the planning process for religious organizations across the nation. They help determine the current vitality of a congregation and provide information for leaders to identify the best path forward. I am presently part of a class in social justice leadership at the United Theological Seminary of the Twin Cities, which includes this benefit to you, a Convergence survey. Thanks to generous support from the Lilly Endowment, this comprehensive church assessment and follow-up consulting has an estimated value up to $10,000 and is being provided to this fellowship at no cost. The transition team and the board both voted to accept this gift as an investment in the future of this fellowship. Your responses will be correlated with congregations from across the country to provide the most meaningful predictions. But it really does come back to all of you. We need a 70% response rate to get an accurate sample. We will keep reminding you until we hit the magic number. Behind every door on your Advent calendar is a secret message. Have you completed your Convergence survey? The deadline is December 29th, but please don't wait till the end. The gift will come eventually. That is the mystery of Advent. We have to wait for it. We don't know what we don't know. And for a great example of this, I found a passage from Gilbert Rendell's book, Leading Change in the Congregation. Quote, I was working with a board, and in the course of the work, board members began to criticize and complain about not receiving new members. I was puzzled by the conversation because I had seen the statistics that clearly indicated new members were joining. When I asked about their complaining and pointed to the numbers of new members, they responded, "Oh, but those are not good members." Shocked at the response, I invited people at the meeting to describe a good member. A good member was one who attended worship regularly, participated in adult education, volunteered to be on at least one committee, showed up at most social functions, participated in special programs and projects, and supported the budget through regular giving. To no one's surprise, not even theirs, they had described themselves. The board members needed to learn. They needed to learn about the lifestyle and demands faced by younger, dual income families. They needed to learn how to plan programs that were not heavily committee dependent or labor intensive for people who did not have the time and interest to be on committees. Without these learnings, this board would have remained in the doing mode and the division between the old and new members would have continued in such a way that the feelings between the two groups increasingly deteriorated and the life of the congregation went unchanged. Clearly, providing leadership in a time of change does not always require leaders to do something and come up with the right answer. In fact, this may exacerbate the problem, or even worse, sidestep it. Rather than do, leaders are at times called to learn and to teach others what they are learning. Close quote, and thank you, Gilbert Rendell. That was written in 1998. It's even more true today. We don't know what we don't know. This parable could be from any church anywhere. We seem to be hardwired to recreate the universe in our own image. And maybe for a business or a social group, that's just fine. But in a religious community, serving our own needs is only one of many considerations. Sharing our free faith and welcoming people from different backgrounds is an ongoing spiritual practice. And that's why rather than do, we are also called to learn from each other. The gift will come eventually. We have to wait for it. This is the mystery of Advent. May it be so, and amen. Please rise now in body or spirit for our closing song 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. There's an important meeting following this service in room 3. The budget will be discussed before being prepared for you at next week's annual meeting. So anyone interested in the budget, please gather in room 3 immediately following this service. Our closing words are from Mary Oliver. Truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, where we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have all the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, look, and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads. Go now in peace.